short definition of what is sexual pleasure. Can I move? Yes, there. Sexual pleasure, first of all, like any kind of pleasure, food pleasure, for example, it's a perception. It's a personal perception. So it's very subjective, like I said before. And about sexuality, it's an enjoyment, a pleasure that is generally, when we talk about pleasure and sexuality, we work on the top of the body, all this part of the body. You know, when you have pleasure to eat some food, you are like, it smells good, it's good. So the whole top of the body is moving and is activating. So that's we can call enjoyment when we talk about sexuality. And this enjoyment is associated with a genital excitement. So when we work on the discover our own body as a woman, of course, when we talk, I show you, I hope you see me. When we talk about sexual excitement, we work on this part of the body, genital excitement. So it's very focused on the genital part. And of course, on the clitoris, not only, but because all our body can be very sexual, but for the genital part, it's situated there. So like I said, it's very personal and very personal bodily sensations. And it's different for each woman. So today we will give some tips, a start of tips, because there are so many things to discover yourself, and to start maybe this exploration, this travel of sexual pleasure with your own reference and your own body. What does sexual excitement mean? Because there is sometimes a lot of confusion between what we call sexual excitement, pleasure, orgasm, letting go, desire, a lot of things like that, and we can find a lot of information on internet, but it's not easy to understand what it really is. So I will explain to you shortly what is the sexual excitement curve. First of all, we have the climb of the sexual excitement and the time, okay? The first, there is a first reflex in the body when there is a stimulation. It can be conscious or it can be totally unconscious. Maybe you already felt it in your body, maybe, I don't know. But without being aware, it was a genital excitement reflex. So it's interesting to have some information about it, because maybe you would think about some moment you lived or you will live, and you would think about it. So the first genital excitement reflex is a reflex, erectile reflex. We talk about erection for the men, but it's also for the clitoris. The clitoris is also erectile. So we can have good erection. We will show just after some image of the clitoris, 3D image, and you will see that you have a beautiful and huge clitoris because it's big. The inner clitoris is very big. So this is the genital excitement curves when you have a sexual excitement. So it can start, but it can stop. But you can have a curve like this when you feel excitement. So it's really in the genital zone, okay? And then there is, I won't take too long for explaining that today, but if it's necessary, we'll talk during another session. And then we can reach, it's not a mandatory, but a point that is called the no return point. And at this moment, it's the beginning of the second genital excitement reflex. That is what we call the climax. It's a genital release. The sensation of the body is a release in the genital zone. Okay? So this, we can have a genital excitement curve, reflex and curve, but no sexual pleasure. It's two different things. The sexual pleasure is a second curve, and it can be totally dissociated or it can be totally linked. It's depend of the way we feel the moment, and it depend of the way we are living the moment and the link we have with our body. Sexual pleasure curve, as I said, when we work on it, we work on with the top of the body. So it's really connected to the affective part, emotional part. So of course, when we have a trauma, when we left a terrible experience, when we felt pain, we were scared, of course, it touched the emotional part. So it's also a process to liberate it, to be able to reach this kind, the sexual pleasure. Okay, so that's an important part also to be aware of. But of course, it's possible, and I work on it every day. So I can tell you that we can do that. Even for the person who have terrible experience of life and the woman who experience terrible drama. So sexual pleasure curves up when it's associated to the genital excitation curves, both is an orgasm. So in the body, there is, when both are associated, there is a genital excitation with an erectile clitoris, with lubrication, of course. There is a lot of pleasure diffused in the body. And then at one moment, there is an energy, it's like an energy, yeah, that is canalized, and it's, the sensation words are very personal, huh? But there is something in a global feeling in the body, and what we call, I hope it's the good word in English, le lâcher prise, letting go, to let go, yeah, okay. And then we can say it's an orgasm. So it's important to be aware that all these different feeling and sensation of the body are all very good and are all complementary, but are also different, and that's okay. Personally, sometimes I can experience genital excitement without so much pleasure, without pleasure. I already experienced that. And sometimes we have a lot of pleasure, but not sexual genital excitement. So if you have questions about that, I hope it's clear. Don't hesitate to put it in the chat. Huh? So that's what we call sexual excitement. So there is a complementarity between climax and orgasm. Okay, climax is genital excitement, so a genital release, and orgasm is a genital excitement plus the sensation of the sexual pleasure. And what about this clitoris? The clitoris, as you already know, I think, is the one and only organ that is exclusively dedicated to pleasure. So I will show you a few images, and especially a 3D image. This is this image that is called the internal clitoris, is the first imagery done by Odile Buisson, Dr. Odile Buisson in France. It was in 2007.
Odile Fillot.
No, it's Odile Buisson in 2007, yes. And it was like a kind of echography that we call a sonography. And you can show the yellow part is the clitoris. So we have a little, very little part that is outside, and the biggest part that is inside a body, and that is totally, how do you say that in English? Intact? Intact? Yeah, intact. Okay. In your body, even with the terrible experience of the genital mutilation. So you are an entire whole woman, and I hope you will feel it and be confident of it, because you have this organ in you, no matter if it's very teeny, no matter the form, you have it, and it's okay, and you can have a lot of sensation with it, of course. So I show you, I love this image. It's a 3D modelization of a French researcher that is called Philippe Cosentino. I show you it, but after I show you in 3D, I have to change the page. I come back on this one, up, and I show you. I love this. Do you see it? I try to move it up. What can I do? I put up, and I put the link in the chat when I'm talking. I'm not sure. Okay, no, I will do that just after. Oops. Do you see it? Do you see the 3D animation? No, maybe not. Okay, try it. Share the right screen. Up. Yes. Do you see it now? Yes. Can I move it? Oh, I can't. Why I can't move it? Yes, I can. Yoo-hoo. I'm happy. So there, it's like a picture of us. Like if, can you show me? Can you see me? Yes. It's like a picture of us there. Boom. Okay. So of course it's an informatical image. Huh? So it's not as much sexy as a woman. But it gives an idea of how it is. And you see this part in the little rose part is the external clitoris. So it can be very, very teeny, but it's okay. We can have a lot of pleasure and sensation, no matter the size of this part. And then, can I move it? Yes. Yeah, it's the inner part. Here you have, so what we can see, but what exists. Oh, sorry. I have a problem with the, It's terrible, informatic. I'm like, okay, so you can see in rows there. I would like to have a better view of it. Comment je fais pour le bouger? Ah, voilà. Super. Okay, can you see it? So it's us in 3D, girls. You see it? Isn't it beautiful? You know, it can be like a bird or like a flower, no matter, like you want, like you prefer. And the whole rose part is the clitoris. So there we can have a lot of sensation. It's measured about 10, 12 centimeters. And there you have, comment on dit en anglais? La vessie, comment tu dis la vessie?
Bladder.
Bladder, yes. Uterus, huh? Uterus. And there you have the vagina. Tac, tac. Just right there. Yep. So what can happen when we try to discover our body? It's that, and all the women are different. Some women are very sensitive outside, the part outside of the clitoris, but some women are very also sensitive of the inner part of the clitoris. And then when there is a stimulation with maybe a sex toy or with the finger, no matter the way we love to explore ourselves, we can stimulate this part of the clitoris and all those parts, inner parts, by stimulating different zones of the vulva. So this is why it's so important to explore ourselves, to discover what are the zones where I am sensitive, because one more time, we are all different, okay? I go back on this deck. So I will copy paste in the chat the link of the website I just showed you. Like that, you can have fun to discover it. This 3D animation. So what I propose to you, if you are okay, it's to identify and explore your own sexual excitement sources. So to identify and to explore, of course, physically your body by the touch, for example, but you will see that there is many sexual excitement sources, and we can classify them in 6 categories. The 5 first are the 5 senses. So generally, when we talk about sexuality, we think a lot about the touch, to touch this part and the breast and the ass, and you know, it's a little bit focus, a lot of focus on that. But whole body can be, for some people, to be kissing the neck is more give more excitement and sexual excitement than to be touched on the vulva or on the breast. So that's very personal. One more time. So the 5 senses are the touch, the view. Some people, when they look at a smile or a look or a sexual scene on a movie, or no matter what is the stimulation, they can feel sexual excitement. Comment tu dis ça, Nadine? Louis?
Sense of hearing.
Okay, the hearing.
Hearing.
Hearing, yes. So maybe some kind of music, and you feel maybe some kind of sexual excitement sometimes when you dance, or when you hear some rhythm that you love, and it can give a feeling of sexual excitement. Also, the sound of some voices can be also very exciting for some people. So there are many ways. What I forgot, the smell, of course, like a perfume, or the smell of the person you want to be with, of your partner, and the taste. Some people can erotize the taste. And the sixth category is the sexual imagination. Some people have a lot of sexual imagination. Some people don't have, and it's okay. One more time, everything is okay. What is important, it's what you feel. And one more time, you won't feel the same that your partner, you won't feel the same that your girlfriend, etc., etc. Okay? Sexual imagination can be the dream when we sleep, some dream when we are awake. So I'm during my day and I think about something. I think about one person I feel excitement for, and I feel it in my body. And then it can be also the fantasy when we have projection of sexual excitement experience of a scenario, for example, script, and it creates a sexual excitement. That you can explore about it, and if you want, we could maybe share about it in a way or another later, because it can be very interesting to discover. And those sexual excitement sources evolve. We can change every day, every week, every month, every year. There is no rules, okay? So to conclude this part, I just give you a few references, but maybe I can also copy paste in the chat of book or Instagram page that could be interesting about sexuality. There is a Bliss Club book Instagram page. There is a sexologist called Esther Perel that is very interesting also. She's an English-speaking person. Huh? It's English reference there. Odile Fillot, that is a French researcher. It's in French, but there is a lot of information about her research about the clitoris online. Jana Richardson, talking about slow sex. That is an interesting approach to discover some kind of sexuality, to help to discover the body. And there is also a psychology professor in the US university that is called Christine Neff, and have developed an approach not especially linked to sexuality, but more about self-compassion. Because what I see daily is that sexuality is really related to with what we call self-esteem, and auto-compassion is a precious tool to work on it. So there is a lot of tools and conferences of Christine Neff online. So you just have to Google it, and you will find a lot of information about it if you feel that those kind of subject can touch you and help you. So thank you all for your time and listening.